Welcome. In this lesson, I am going to show you what is a DB parameter group. This is very important topic. Before you create any RDS instance for any type, MySQL Server, Oracle, MariaDB, Aurora, that will be driven by a DB parameter group. Okay, so AWS has created some built-in parameter group families for all the known RDS databases out there for Aurora, MySQL, MariaDB, Postgres, Oracle, and SQL Server. And they have also created a default parameter group for each of these families. So for example, if I want to set up a RDS instance of MySQL, by default, AWS will provide me a MySQL parameter group family and MySQL 8.0, the latest one, and I have the option to pick up the previous version. But if I will not pick anything, AWS will go ahead and it will attach a default parameter group based on the default parameter group family. Okay, so this is very important to understand. Every RDS instance that you are going to create, it will be based on the DB parameter group. This is how AWS will know that how should I run this instance? What are the values that belong to this RDS instance? And think of this DB parameter group as you are providing a different values for different parameters in our my.cnf option file. Remember, whenever you install a MySQL, the default location, there is a etc my.conf, and this has a default values and we can make any changes that we want. Now, there are certain rules that you need to understand about the DB parameter groups. The very first thing is default parameter groups contain the database engine default. You will not find a parameter inside here that is not belong to this family. So Oracle DB group family will have related to the Oracle, all the Oracle related to parameters. We cannot modify any of the existing default parameter group. We have to create a new default. We have to create our new custom parameter group off of this default parameter group if we want to make any changes. If we do not want to make any changes, then the default will work. But most of the time, you always want to make the changes in the parameter group. That is why you create a new custom group based on these group families. You create your own custom parameter group based off the default group, like I just mentioned. Every new RDS instance should have its own custom parameter group. This is just kind of like a recommendation. Rule of thumb is whenever you create a new RDS instance, you create a new custom parameter group for particularly that name, and the resource name should match. I mean, it is just a recommendation that we know that there are 10 RDS instances. How would you distinguish between them? So the proper way is you change the name of the parameter group based on the RDS instance. So how you create, if you come to RDS, the very first thing you want to see is parameter groups. Right there are certain 2 parameter groups they had already defined for us. We want to create a new custom parameter group. For this, click on custom parameter group, and the very first thing it will be based on which family you want to create this parameter group. So the very first option will be, we have to select that this is I am creating based off MySQL, let's say, group of families. So the MySQL will be, let's say I have the option 55, 56, 57. Let me pick up the latest one. Okay, this will be a DB parameter group, and the group name is, let's say I call this my parameter group. Okay, and the description is, we can put anything here, PG for MySQL latest version. Okay, this is how you create a parameter group. Okay, and then this is based on this family. You can click here. Now if you want to modify anything, we can go ahead and click on edit, and then these are the values modifiables. So for example, if I want to modify, let's say, the backup log or anything, right? So I can say, let's say 10, just giving you example. Okay, you say changes and the value will be same. These are exactly like in the my.cnf. If you want to go ahead and delete this, you can have the ability to delete the parameter group. Okay, so now if we go back, we see that we are no longer having any custom parameter group. Now the similar thing we can do through AWS CLI. For that, I have created this small document for you in our course repo. You can list all the DB parameters by AWS RDS and then describe parameter groups. Okay, if you copy that and if you come back and if you have AWS configured, and we have gone through how we will configure AWS CLI, and then you can see that right now we do not have any custom, but it is all these two default showing up. Okay, and then if you want to see a multi-AZ clustered parameter group, that is the command to do that. If you want to see all the parameters belong to one specific DB parameter group, we can run the command describe DB parameters. So let's go ahead and create one custom parameter group and call this, let's say, demo PG, and we will give this MySQL 8 as a group family, and then description will be demo PG, and then we can describe them. This is going to create a new parameter group, and then the next command is describing it, and right there this is our custom parameter group. Now if we want to make, let's say, changes to this one, now let's see if we can see our parameter group. Refresh that and I can see this one. Let's go ahead and make the changes for this parameter group to create. For example, we want to have a GTID based replication. Let's go ahead and make those changes in the GTID based parameters. So that will be GTID, and we know that enforce GTID consistency should be on and GTID mode should be on. Okay, so let's go ahead and save the changes. We have made the changes. Now these are the changes. For example, you have made like 50 changes, 20 changes, you do not know, but now you do not remember, or your RDS instance is not working the way you thought it will work. So you want to reset all those values, but you do not remember now which value did you set. So you just want to put it back as a default value. One option is to just delete this parameter group, and the other option is you just go ahead and do the reset. How you do the reset? The command is RDS reset DB parameter group, and you want to reset, you want to give the name of the parameter group, and then you want to reset all the parameters. Okay, once you do that, it says that I have done that. You can verify if you go back to your meter and you type here GTID, it went back to the off permissive. Okay, this is how you do through the CLI. And finally, if you want to delete your parameter group through the AWS CLI, you can simply provide delete DB parameter group. And where I get all these commands, if you simply type AWS CLI reference, CLI latest, and then for every service there is a CLI. So I want to pick up, let's say we are working on RDS, so you pick up RDS LMNOPQR PQR RDS, and these are all the commands available. Okay, and this is what we are doing, DB parameter group. If you click that, you have to click on example to see how they do that. Very simple, very easy. All the arguments you can provide through here. So the minimum is just provide the name and the parameter. So if I say go ahead and delete this parameter group, it will delete, and you can even verify if you reset and this is gone. So I hope that now you understand why we need DB parameter groups and what are some of the limitations. Like we cannot make any changes to the default parameter group. We always want to create our own parameter group, and we can manage them through the management console as well as through the AWS CLI. I will see you in the next lesson.